JB here. Hope everyone's doing outstanding. It's a fine afternoon, September 17th, 2024. We're about 44 minutes to the close. Just some quick updates, just like yesterday. Not too much to really talk about. Not that I'm not doing any trades, but just some. I haven't. There hasn't been any crazy moves or things like that. But talk really quick about the market tomorrow and go from there. But take a look at the SPY, a bigger range than yesterday. Hit intraday highs on the S&P, then pulled back. This seems like bigger swings, but just in the context of everything, especially concerning what tomorrow's going to bring with the Fed, it just uh, I mean, well, of course, I would like to see a solid green day with not too much in the way of moves, but that's not going to happen. So it's if you take a look and you go to any of the FinTwit or financial websites, it's all about what's going to happen tomorrow, right? You go to in Market Watch, I go more as it's like looking at a tabloid at the supermarket. I hate to say it like that, but Market Watch has some good stuff, but it also seems like they're just the flavor of the day, the flavor of the month, the flavor of the hour, and all the headlines now. First, they quoted Barron's, and Barron's is part of that whole branch, Wall Street Journal, Barron's, and Market Watch. They're all the same folks, I guess, own them. So they put the Barron says there was a couple articles right in a way, but first it's interest rate cut. It's the right move unless it triggers more inflation. Like, yeah, of course. And if they don't cut rates, then it triggers more inflation. Of course. Then it says Fed rate cut could help home buyers solve one of their biggest problems. And then the next one, the Fed interest rate cut could help small caps, which I mean I like the small caps. And then it says the size of the Fed interest rate cut doesn't matter as much for your wallet as yet. So it's just all stuff to read, which I mean, it's always good to get varying opinions and obviously do your own due diligence and make your own decision on where you think, based on where the Fed does tomorrow, where the market might go. But, I think it was 6.63% chance probability of the half percent rate cut tomorrow. I was on the fence of a quarter percent. So, uh, then of course you had the senators writing a letter to Fed Chair Powell saying it should be 0.75%. So I guess right in the middle will be fine, and then it's just a matter of those dot points and things like that. But 563, I would love to see it close above that 563. Seemed like it was strong resistance. Then we gapped above that today. It didn't hold, and now we're sitting here at 562. So I think it will bode well, but nothing's going to matter tomorrow at 2 o'clock and 2:30. I'm sure it's going to be volatile. Take a look. The SPY options to straddle are $6.50. So I guess that's at least, I mean, I could do the math really quick. Six, normally I'm pretty good with the numbers, but I'm not thinking straight. But that's a pretty large implied move. So yeah. All right, so anyway, 563 would be important, and then tomorrow if there's some shenanigans, that 555 handle, hopefully that holds, and if it does, then I think we can set a mark for at least heading into new highs again very shortly. Good sign here, even with the market pulling, and we still have the 41 minutes left in the day. Just want to see those small caps hold up. They're up 0.75%. That'll be 5 straight sessions of gains for the IWM, and then it's starting to head back to its August levels, and then it's almost close to breaking that. And once it does, then you start to look that July CPI data where the small caps went nuts. See if we can get up through that level, and then maybe they outperform for the rest of the year, which would be amazing. Ideal situation, at least for how some of the names I'm looking at, and so on and so forth. All right, so individual names really quick. And first, I'll talk about Clear because one of the trades I made today. Sold the last of my September strikes. I had sold early. I forget the lower strike I had. Rolled into the 32s. 32s came back to life. Closed those out just for 100%, a little over 100%, just because I don't want to have too much heading into tomorrow, and you never know. And I wanted to get later strikes anyway. Hit new multi-year highs at 32.50. Well, 32 was the big candle. Once it broke through that, it was like a hot knife through butter. Just hit highs 32.66 a minute ago. And then I was being patient. Once it found some footing, I went and got some October strikes. So I'll probably hold those through, pending any craziness through thick or thin, because I think it heads to 34, 35, if not higher in the coming week or two. If that happens, the calls will be substantially higher. They're already in the green. Redfin, it almost broke. Well, it did for a minute. It broke yesterday's high, which was 14.54. The Friday's high was 14.47. So that's a big resistance area. Now we're down here at 1425. I'll probably just continue to hold my January strikes for now. And once it breaks 15, I'll look to get maybe some November strikes again, or even the Octobers. Uh, I mean, my thoughts on Redfin. Not going to go on a rant on that one. I also added Align calls this morning. I was looking at them yesterday. I talked about on the rant yesterday, put it on the watch list this morning, and then right out of the gate, it gapped. There's no news, no catalyst, and then it ran all the way up. It was up over 3% at times. I was looking at the weekly strikes, but the premiums are expensive. I think it's a $16 implied move. So you start looking at the 270s are expensive on a risk reward basis. So I figured what probably best case, if I think it's going to head to 270, 280 in the coming week or two, go out and get some October strikes. So I bought myself some time. They were solidly green for a while. The stock all the way up to 259 is pulled down here to 252, so drops $7. Calls are flat. I'll hold those probably through thick and thin tomorrow, pending again any kind of crazy shenanigans. I mean, if we really nosedive and we're down 2% or what have you, and there's some surprises, then I'll probably start pulling some ripcords on some of these names. But I'm not holding too much into tomorrow to begin with. So which helps take the emotion out, right? It allows you to reposition. If things are going the other way, get some put hedges. If it flip the other way and the market looks like it's going to melt higher into October, get some calls. All right, so that's a line. Some other individual names, and VKTX is back at its same shenanigans. Seems every time it looks like it's going to break $70, it hits a wall. No news, no catalyst. Down over 6% today. Tough again. I mentioned on this week, and I think last week I was talking about once it breaks 70, I'll add some strikes into October. If it doesn't break 70 by Friday, I'll look to get October strikes anyway. Because if you weren't around in March when it had its data, I think I had like the $20 calls. I had bought them, and they were like up 10 bags or 15 bags. I forget what they were. And it was to the point where I'm like, I got to lock these in. And sure enough, what don't I do? I didn't get later strikes. And then the next day the data came out and it's at $60 or whatever it hit. And then a couple days later, it's $100. So, I still made some great coin, right? You can't kick yourself for taking a profit. I think it's always important to take a profit, but at the same token, you got to learn from it. And that my lesson is I'm not going to be in a position where if there's some buyout news, which is the next possible catalyst, in my opinion, for VKTX, I don't want to be in a position where I don't have some kind of call on it. And for me, when I say buyout, I think a 120 price target is reasonable. So anything below that, that's going to bring a nice multi-bagger. So if it's $100 strikes I can get for $1, that's 20 bags, so on and so forth. That's VKTX. Not much here to add on turn, just good that it's in the green again today, up 2%, though it's given back a lot of its gains. It was over $10 this morning. I'll wait for the $10 to hold. Probably I might wait for it to close it over 10, and then I'll add some strikes the next day if that level holds. Still like that one for upside. Dell's so disappointing. You had that initiation by Mizzo this morning, outperform rating, $135 price target. Stock was gapping 118. It was over its 200-day 50-day moving average. I thought that's it. It's ready to go. And then thankfully, I just sat on my hands and lucky not to have added strikes, but still on watch. Similar to some other names. I don't have the charts up here, but Roku, which look again similar to Dell. Well, not similar to Dell, but it was actually doing very well in the morning, all the way up to 76. I almost got some $80 strikes. I think they were 45 or 50 cents. 76.40 it hit at 10:05. So it looks like one of these days it's going to break out again over $80. Definitely a name I'm watching. Trying to think of some of the other names. Dell, Redfin, VKTX, SE Limited still chopping around here, 78 to $80. That one hasn't been fun. Oh gosh, some of my old favorites. I keep staring at Exigent, ticker AXGN, and I don't have it up here. That's at 1468. That was a $4 stock. That's probably going to $20. Nerve Replacement Company, that was one of my top 5 stocks back in the day. It looks like it finally righted the ship. I think that stock was over $50 after I made it my top 5 stock. It ran from like 20 to 50, and then poor execution and traded down to the single digits. Not saying I'm getting any strikes there, but these are names that come to my mind, come in my head. If small caps are going to outperform to the end of the year, trying to find some of these under the radar, either in the biotech space or some of these smaller cap names that are going to, Redfin's obviously going clear secure, so on and so forth. That's it, folks. I think that's it 34 minutes to the close. Let's have a great afternoon. Hopefully the markets find some footing. Get a bounce to 563 on the SPY would be great. And that's it. Let's have a great day. Rock and roll.